Good evening to our audience in Olelo television land. Welcome to another edition of Bring the World Home. It's a production of the Returned Peace Corps Volunteers of Hawaii, and each week we explore the experiences and opportunities that a volunteer in the U.S. Peace Corps has obtained in one of the 132 countries around the world in which the Peace Corps serves. Tonight we have with us Susanna Letoto. Welcome, Susanna. We really appreciate your joining us this evening.
Pleasure to be
Susanna
here.
was a volunteer in Ecuador.
Yeah, they said that I was going to Ecuador. I had not heard too much about Ecuador in the past, except for maybe that bananas that we eat often come from there. That's about the extent of my knowledge at the time. And but I was really excited to go, and I thought Spanish would be a fairly easy language to learn compared to some. And I was really excited. I remember just, you have to make sure all your medical papers are correct, and then you also have to make sure that your finances are in order, things like that. I mean, but it was step by step. Yeah.
My name is Linda Chalk. I'd like to introduce Kimberly Biggs. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi.
And Kimberly volunteered in 1986 to 88 in Honduras.
And what was interesting was it was during the time of the Contras. And so some of the men in my family were a little upset that I was going down to Honduras. And I said, but look, if the Peace Corps is sending people to Honduras, it's safe. And it was. It was a wonderful experience. I had a great time.
How large was your volunteer group?
We had 34, I believe, in our group.
And men and women?
Yeah, men and women, all ages.
Really? Not just mainly out of college?
No, we had people who had just retired from their careers.
Wow.
There was tons of support from my fellow volunteers. They had a wealth of knowledge in different areas.
Did you have a lot of training in the culture itself?
Yes, that's the second part of training. After we passed training in Frogmore, South Carolina, we went to Honduras and we had 3 months of in-country training. I felt that I got a lot more out of the training because I actually lived in with a family and took part as a member of that family, and everything was done in Spanish. And what I'd learned in college and high school was not the same.
You mentioned 6 areas?
Yeah, I worked with 6 groups. I was assigned to work with an agency that's name was ADE Humur, which stood for Asociación Hondureño para el Desarrollo de la Juventud y la Mujer Rural.
You sound very fluent.
Which means the Honduran Association for Women and Children Development.
Oh, okay.
And
this was your major project?
This was the major group.
Okay.
Each Peace Corps volunteer is assigned to work with a local agency or a school, or depending on what the situation is. And I was assigned to this agency, and I was there to develop chicken projects.
Oh, okay.
The posters in Spanish, everything was in Spanish about the life cycle of the disease in a chicken, the egg, how to tell whether or not you had a good egg layer.
Interesting. Wow.
Everything that can affect the quality of the eggshell. Everything was in Spanish. Big books, little books, posters, you name it.
All of the Peace Corps volunteers in special education had different specialty areas. But I worked mostly with kids, and I pretty much worked with students who had difficulties with learning and their teachers.
Were they still raising chickens, and had they continued on with
No,
the project?
they did it for 5 years.
Oh, I see.
And it served its purpose.
I see you reliving that experience.
I am.
That's wonderful to have such a relationship with a group, that you can feel that. I mean, just to have them, fall apart almost, when they see you.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. You create relationships for life.